Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are setting the stage for a really nostalgic, highly visual, and honestly, an utterly fascinating journey into the hidden mathematical building blocks of our playful world. We're going to take a chapter straight out of an elementary learning book, specifically this delightful chapter called Toy Joy, and we are going to unpack the profound geometry that is hiding right there in plain sight. If you think building blocks are just for kids, well, prepare to have your mind entirely changed. Okay, let's dive straight into section 1, the geometry of play.
You know, when we look at a child's toy, we instantly recognize the animal, the vehicle, or the little character it's meant to be, right? Our brains are literally hardwired to see the story. But I want to challenge our perception today. When we strip away the painted eyes, the cute smiles, and all those surface details of a fun toy, what are they really made of? Like, what is actually holding them together in three-dimensional space?
Take a look at this brilliant little creation. It's a whimsical toy cat, sure, but look closely at how it's actually constructed. Its long body isn't just some generic random shape. It's a very specific, everyday geometric form. Its wide face and pointy ears, they're mathematically proportional. The creator of this toy didn't just use imagination. They used fundamental geometry to bring this cat to life.
So that brings us right to section 2. Meet the basic shapes.
To really get how these toys are built, we've got to introduce our cast of characters. These are the fundamental 3D shapes that basically act as the blueprints for almost every creation you'll see in the Toy Joy chapter. First up is the absolute classic, the cube. A cube is the ultimate building block because all of its faces are perfectly equal squares. In the source material, the kids actually use old, square boxes to create a pig face with narrow eyes. And because the cube is so uniform, it creates this perfectly sturdy, boxy little character. Next up, we have the cuboid. Think of it as the cube's longer, sort of stretched out cousin. Instead of just squares, its faces are rectangles. The source text notes how a cuboid is absolutely perfect for drawing a cat face with long, stretching whiskers. It provides that essential length that forms the core of so many everyday objects and animal bodies. And you know the true beauty of these shapes? It's how incredibly accessible they are. Seriously, just look around your house. Where do we see cubes and cuboids? We see them in old shoeboxes, cardboard packaging, wooden building blocks. This geometry isn't locked away in some high-level textbook. It's literally sitting in your recycling bin, just waiting to be repurposed. All right, now let's move to the curved shapes. We have the cylinder, which has two flat circular ends, and a curved middle, kind of like an old bottle or a tin can. The children in our source use cylinders to make puppy faces with wide, floppy ears. And then we have the cone. It tapers smoothly to a sharp point, which, as it turns out, makes an absolutely perfect pointed bird beak. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole magic of this chapter. Look at the children holding these basic, unadorned shapes: a cylinder, a cuboid, a cube, a cone. And then look at the transformation into the decorated crafts. These abstract geometric shapes become playful, recognizable, deeply expressive creations just by understanding their physical properties. It's a real game changer when you see it like this. Moving right along to section 3, faces, edges, and corners. Let's actually shift our focus to the anatomy of these shapes, really breaking them down into their core architectural properties. Take a simple cube, for example. Any 3D shape can be analyzed by looking at 3 distinct features. You've got the flat surfaces that make up the outside, you have the straight lines exactly where those surfaces meet, and you have the sharp points at the very ends. So to give you a solid toolkit for analyzing pretty much anything you encounter, just remember these 3 terms from the text. Faces, those are the flat or curved surfaces you can actually touch. Edges, the lines created where 2 faces meet. And corners, those sharp points where the edges ultimately connect. Once you know these 3 terms, you can decode literally any 3D object. Which brings us to section 4, flat versus curved surfaces. Now, I want you to really think about the physical difference in how these shapes might feel in your hands, and more importantly, how they actually move in the real world. The source text asks students a vital question: which objects have only flat faces, and which have curved faces? Think about it for a second. Cubes and cuboids are entirely flat. But cylinders, cones, and shapes with absolutely no edges at all, like a round ball or sphere, well, they rely entirely on their curves. Now, what's genuinely fascinating about this is the contrast in function. Look at the sturdy stack of flat-faced cuboids. Flat faces are absolutely essential for building secure platforms and towers. They lock together. But then look at the round, curved toy on a stick. Curved shapes serve a completely different, highly dynamic purpose. They can roll, spin, and pivot in ways flat shapes simply cannot. Finally, let's pull all of this together in Section 5, Building Complex Toy Models. We've spent all this time deconstructing shapes into their basic parts. Now, let's synthesize and see exactly how complex models are built from the ground up. Check out this amazing illustration of Devika's toy engine. At first glance, you think, oh, it's just a cool train, but I want you to actively look for the individual geometric components hiding within it. Look at the wheels, the body, the smokestacks, the cabin. It's an architectural marvel, and it's all made of basic blocks. The chapter is absolutely packed with these kinds of wonderful exercises. Take this comparison, a clever little mouse toy next to a girl named Jaya building a colorful block rocket. The book explicitly asks the students to identify what shapes are used in these toys and exactly how many of each there are. I'll pause for just a second here. See if you can mentally count them. How many red cylinders do you see making up that rocket's base? How many yellow cones are capping those towers? How many blue cubes are stacked up in there? Guess what? You're doing mathematical analysis right now. So, the crucial point is exactly what's mapped out in this table. The yellow smokestacks? Those are cones. That big red boiler? That's a cylinder. The blue cabin is a cuboid. Complex structures, whether we're talking about toy engines or actual real-world skyscrapers, are really just brilliant, countable combinations of simple geometry. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this fantastic, direct question pulled right from the end of the source text. What possible shapes do you get if you join 3 cubes? It's such a great prompt because it immediately sparks the imagination. Do you make a tall tower, a flat rectangle, maybe an L shape? The possibilities for geometric combination are basically endless. And honestly, that is the ultimate takeaway from Toy Joy. I strongly encourage you to pull this visual geometry lesson right out of this explainer and apply it to your real-world environment. Go ahead, look up from your screen right now. What hidden cubes, cuboids, and cylinders are building the room you're sitting in? The math is everywhere, guys, just waiting for you to notice it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.